have to tell you, DeSalvo had a major problem in pit lane before the start of this race. They pulled him off the line after the sighting lap, and DeSalvo is nowhere on my top list. And we look down in pit lane, and there is Kenny Tibble. Kenny Tibble hobbles across the tarmac. Kenny Tibble is out of this. This will be the first race in this year that he has not scored points, even after the disasters of Knock Hill. Kenny Tibble, the series leader, is in a real mess there. Tibble is back out. Tibble has gone back out on the bike, so despite the hobbling, he is out with 40, Jason DeSalvo. Now, I have to look a long, long way down my leaderboard. In fact, past the top 20. They're not even in the top 20, these two. Jason DeSalvo, 2 times a winner this year. Kenny Tibble, series leader, is there on bike 10. There it is, Martin Easton green, Laverty, and then Robinson 5 is, well, that's Paul Robinson, and Kenny Robinson is on 33. So Paul Robinson on 18, Kenny Robinson on 33. They are 5th and 6th. Kenny Tibble slowing right down again. Kenny Tibble, the series leader. Well, he is having had disastrous couple of rounds. Knock Hill was not good for him, and this place, well, he's hurt. He's got a problem with the bike. He's been into pit lane to get his dad and co to sort it all out. Looks to me like he's retired now. He can only sit and watch this man, Christopher Martin, who is leading this race. But I've got to say that Stuart Easton looks like he's piling it on. The young man from Hoyk riding for the Demon Vimto Paul Bird Motorsport team. Well, Birdie hasn't got much to cheer about at the moment here at Cadwell Park. But this might liven him up a fraction. Oh, out goes Alan Green. Alan Green, 3rd place in the series, has gone off the track. And Alan Green, he was 3rd in the series, 3rd in the race. And that is going to cost him very dearly indeed. The man who was 4th, of course, is Jason DeSalvo, so he won't be passed by DeSalvo in the series, but his championship aspirations are now well and truly in the mire. 44 is Easton. Oh, and DeSalvo gets lap 40 is Jason DeSalvo. I don't think even Christopher Martin believed that when he went by him. DeSalvo indicating that he's still circular. I don't know what I think he's just trying out parts on his bike as we go into the final lap. Jason DeSalvo, 2 times a winner. And I've got to say that Jason DeSalvo struggling like mad here today, and not going to go away with any points. Neither is Kenny Tibble, the series leader. Out of barn for the last time, a clear and precise winner. Christopher Martin has been absolutely awesome throughout qualifying and throughout this race. Right from the green light, Christopher Martin has been the man to beat. Stuart Easton did all he possibly could, but Christopher Martin, after 15 laps at 85.07 miles an hour, has taken an absolutely superb win.
Jenny on 1.
Christopher Martin, a popular winner here at Cadwell Park in front of the new lap record holder, Stuart Easton. He also is very, very popular around this track. Lee Jackson in a fine 3rd from him in front of Paul Robinson. 2nd in the series, Robinson is still. Pete Jennings comes up through the leaderboard to 5th after Kenny Robinson had a bit of a last lap calamity on the last corner. Leon Camia, the 14-year-old, in 6th place. Michael Wilcox in 7th. And John Pearson, after a great qualifying, finishing in 8th.
Congratulations all round for Chris, but this is where he'd wished he'd practiced his celebration skills. Lee Jackson is the quickest man with a cork. Well, if you can't beat them, soak them. Stuart Easton's off to ask team owner Paul Bird how it's done. Don't bother, lad. He's a servant for that job. Kenny Tibble's winning margin is reduced to 17 points over Paul Robinson in 2nd place. Alan Green is still 3rd. Jason DeSalvo still 4th. Stuart Easton is a mover. He's 5th. John Pearson 6th. Lee Jackson 7th. And Gary Haslam in 8th. Lee Jackson's back again in the 250s along with brother Gary. The 250s are next. The distant thunder threatened rain, and when it rains at Cadwell, it rains hard. Lee Jackson was in a class of his own in qualifying. The Paget's Honda man was on pole. On the other side of the grid, the man in black, Ian Bennett, was fourth fastest. And between Bennett and Jackson were two of the best. Darren Barton was third fastest on the Help Hire Assist Honda, with Jason Davis second. Lee Jackson shocked the opposition, 0.8 of a second faster than the second place man Jason Davis. Darren Barton third, Ian Bennett in fourth place. Gary Jackson, brother of Lee, in fifth. Then it's Jennings, Haslam and Thompson on row 2. On row 3, Callum Ramsey, the series leader, in front of Steve Sawford, Tim Levy and Adrian Clark. And row 4, Tunstall, Naval, Hopper and Hertzberg. And it wasn't just the riders who'd got to put up with the sudden change of conditions either. Still, at least it was warm-ish.
It could only happen in England. The sun is shining and it's still raining. Off the line then go the 250s. Everybody jockeying for position into turn 1. It's Coppice Corner and Darren Barton on bike number 3. Jason Davis though goes straight underneath him on bike 17. Jason Davis hits the front at Coppice. Let's hope he don't hit the floor at Charlie. Through goes Ian Bennett. Ian Bennett on bike 34 has gone through in the black leathers. Qualified in fourth place. Great qualifying. That of course was in the dry. They've had an enforced 5 minutes of wet weather practice just before this race started, and now we can see the real form of Jason Davis. He is effectively second in the championship if you discount John McGuinness, who's out through injury. The man who leads the series, of course, is Callum Ramsey, and we're looking for him. He's way down on the third row of the grid, Callum, so the Scot has got a load of work to do. Through Chris Kerr for the first time then, Jason Davis is the man that leads from number 8. That's Gary Jackson. Gary Jackson has come through from the second row of the grid. His brother Lee is on the front row of the grid, so watch out for Lee Jackson. There he is on bike number 9. And there is Callum Ramsey. He has scored at every single round this year. Callum Ramsey has been superb since Neil Mackenzie gave him this motorcycle right at the beginning of the year. He had no ride, remember, until Neil Mackenzie decided to help him out. Well, nowhere else can you see scenes like this, not as far as my experience goes anyway. This is your race leader. Well, will there be a pot of gold at the end of it? We'll have to wait and find out. I'll try and find a few more cliches for you later on in the commentary. 17 is Jason Davis. 8 is Gary Jackson. They're on to Chris Curve already, these two. Oh, and you can see picking their way through the gooseneck. That's a very tricky corner indeed. Still Ian Bennett in third place on bike 34. It's a great ride again from Ian Bennett, qualified well on his Honda. Oh, through has gone Gary Jackson at Mansfield, of all places. Well, I wouldn't have picked that one as a perfect pass in place, but obviously what do I know? Through has gone Gary Jackson, and to hit the front, well, this is a bit of a turn up for the books. Brother Lee Jackson qualified on pole position in the dry, and in the wet, well, the other half of the company, Gary Jackson out there looking particularly good in the wet. We're on that 5 of 16. We're looking at the battle for fourth place at the moment. Bennett, Ramsey and Haslam are the protagonists. Top 6 then, Jackson, Davis and Barton. They are nearly 3 seconds apart. Bennett, Ramsey and Haslam are 4th, 5th and 6th. Well, you've got to say, the fastest man on the track looks like Darren Barton, and that has now been confirmed. Darren Barton is right up there amongst them. 1 minute 40.9. That is remarkable considering the extremely slippery conditions. Starting lap 7, under pressure. Gary Jackson was the race leader. Jason Davis is your new race leader. Going up into Coppice. Great pass there from Jason Davis. 25 points for a lead, 20 points for second place, 16 for third. Davis, Jackson, Barton, Bennett, Ramsey, Haslam are your top men out of the top 6. 42, there was Lawrence Hopper being passed. Oh, look at Barton round the outside there of Gary Jackson, and Gary Jackson responds with the brakes at the end of the straight. So, Mr. Barton, if you're going to make a pass on Gary Jackson, you're going to have to make it stick. 3 laps to go for Jason Davis. He is on lap 14 of the 16, and he really is doing a brilliant job here in the wet. 1.5 seconds his lead over Gary Jackson in second place, who's extended his second place over the third place man, Darren Barton. Here is Callum Ramsey. Callum Ramsey then has found the going very, very difficult here at Cadwell Park all weekend, but it's